Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today what we're going to talk about, talk about the election that's coming up. Midterms are right around the corner. We're going to talk about these funny little commercials that are out there that are trying to entice your kids to ask more questions about the jab, and a slew of other little things. I'm Laoch, and this is Laoch's When the Hammer Drops. All right, folks. So I'm going to take the smallest one first, which is the commercials. Let's talk about the commercials real quick, because I'm kind of disturbed with these commercials and how they're really trying to attract your children to ask about the COVID vaccine. Now, if you haven't seen the commercials, I was watching True TV, and it was like every single commercial break was the same commercial about the jab. And what it had was Elmo. Now, if y'all remember, Elmo was huge with our kids years and years ago. And it still is now, because our kids still watch the Muppets and stuff like that. So they're using some of the favorite things that our children love. And they're using that because they know that it can entice our children to ask about getting the jab, and very well possibly get the jab. Because, hey, some of your parents, maybe you already have the jab and you didn't want to have your kids get the jab, but now they're going to be starting to ask questions because they're seeing this. Now, if I saw this on True TV, I can only imagine what other channels this stuff is on. I've seen commercials with Big Bird in it. It has a Band-Aid on his arm and all this stuff. It's like, whoa. You guys need to stop. Leave our children alone. Let them get, develop their brains and get a little bit older and all that stuff. And, even then, I wouldn't even get the COVID jab, because we already know how bad that jab is. And unfortunately, there's too many people out there that have already gotten it I know a lot of people that are kicking themselves in the ass for getting it. And unfortunately, it just, kind of is what it is at this point. But, what I have to say to mainstream media, to the pharmaceutical companies and all that stuff, leave our fucking kids alone. Enough's enough already. I mean, isn't it bad enough that you've already got the approval through the CDC and all this stuff, now you're raising the rates for your COVID jabs? It's all about money for you guys. That's all it is. It's not about saving or helping people. It's about money. Whether you hurt them or not, you don't care. But later on down the road, I'm going to do a show that's going to be strictly about the COVID jab. That's it. And this show will, in fact, it won't be on YouTube, and it will not be on Facebook at all. The only place you're going to be able to see that is on Rumble, folks. So when the time comes, I'll get that out to you and let you guys know in advance when I'm going to do that show. So, now I don't know if you have heard, the CDC had voted unanimously to add the COVID shot for our kids, so before they can get into school and stuff. It's not a mandatory thing yet, but they're strongly suggesting it. And damn well, any of the Democratic run states, if they can find a way to do it, and they're going to make it mandatory that your children get the shot. At that point, I would say it's time to homeschool, because, let's face it, at least if you homeschool your children, they're going to actually learn everything that they should. Not this BS crap that is in the schools nowadays. I mean, they're not teaching them what the Constitution is. They're only teaching them bits and pieces of what the Constitution is. They're not teaching them what the Bill of Rights is. Again, bits and pieces. Hell, they're teaching our kids that men can be pregnant. Last I thought, men can't get pregnant, but it's because of this woke and this whole new movement about transgenderism and all this stuff. That's why men can be pregnant. I don't know about you guys, but I am personally sick and tired and done with it. I'm over it. I really am. I don't have a problem with, you want to do whatever you want, go do it. But don't put it onto our children, especially, our young children. I mean, when they can make their own choices, then fine. Whatever they want to do, that's up to them. But stay the hell away from our children. So, yeah, with that being said, now let's get on to our elections. So this year, in 2022, these midterms are very, very important. And if you haven't noticed by now, the left has started the propaganda well before now, and it's only going to ramp up even more. And now you might be sitting there thinking, propaganda? What kind of propaganda? Well, it's a lot of the commercials that you're seeing out there right now on, all your mainstream media, and even on the news, where they're saying that, the Democrats will still keep the House, or, they're trying to downplay that the Democrats are going to lose. Because we all know, any smart individual knows that people are sick of it, and it's more than likely that the Democrats aren't going to walk away from this very good. So what they're trying to do is basically, I know here in Illinois, they like to say that they throw the polling numbers out. Okay, now they threw the polling numbers out about Pritzker and Darren Bailey. And they said that Darren Bailey was like 12 points behind or some shit, and Pritzker had this huge lead. And then come to find out, Reuters, looked at Reuters, and they were like, it was a very close race where it could be anybody's race. And this was exactly like not even a day apart. It's like, how does that change in a day? It doesn't. It's because they're feeding this crap to you. So you feel that all hope is lost, essentially. So you don't go out and vote. And because that's what they want. They don't want you to go out and vote, because they know if you go out and vote, they're going to lose. But one thing that's funny is that good old Brandon himself was addressing the DNC yesterday and said, if all of you guys get out there and vote, we're going to win. Joe, you're delusional, old man. You guys aren't going to win. And when the Republicans take over, kiss your Inflation Reduction Act and all that other bullshit that you passed, gone. I mean, hell, you're talking about a president that has said that they've passed the college, removing the college debt twice, 2 different laws. It's like, dude, Joe, what's wrong with you? It's time to hang it up. And not to mention, this guy, he's talking up Kamala Harris, which I don't know about you. Throughout this whole presidency, I haven't seen or heard really anything about Kamala Harris. I mean, her claim to fame is the border, and well, look at that. It is a disaster down there. But yet he is touting her to be for 2024, which is kind of funny because Joe just recently said that he was going to run in 2024. So I'm thinking that this is changing, because I honestly don't think the Democratic Party is really behind Joe. Joe is bad for business. I mean, hell, CNBC is turning against Joe. When they start to turn against Joe, I mean, all your mainstream media is turning against him. This isn't good for Joe. So, he's not going to run. So and unfortunately, Democrats don't have anybody else. What, Gavin Newsom? I mean, you're talking about Gavin Newsom, Pritzker, and Kamala Harris. I mean, look at their track records, folks. Gavin Newsom is mandating electric vehicles all throughout California, and when the grid out there for electricity can't even handle it. And then you got Pritzker, same thing with Illinois, the Safety Act, that's pretty much going to let criminals remain out without bail for like second-degree murder, rape, all this shit. It's like, what the hell? These are the people that you guys have to run for president. And I don't think anybody in the United States will vote for these jokers. And if you do, y'all got issues. That's all I'm going to say. But with this, the reason why these midterms are so important, because it's not only, for the federal government, for the Senate, for the House, but it's also for your local government. It's for a lot of governors are up, a lot of state representatives are up. You got to get out there. And I'm not saying vote all Republican. I'll never say that, because if you did vote all Republican, then I would have to question if you're a rhino or not. Because, without doing your homework, you're going to vote in somebody that shouldn't be in there. Now, if all the Republicans check your boxes, then vote for them. I'm not going to say yes or no to you're being a rhino, but I would be a little leery myself. I know I'm going to go vote for who I think is going to do the best. And it sure as hell isn't going to be the likes of Dick Durbin, people like that, Tammy Duckworth, and anybody else that's on the January 6th committee. I will not vote for. But luckily, I don't have to worry about those people, because the ones that are on the January 6th committee that from Illinois, Adam Kissinger, or whatever the hell your last name is, would you look at that? He's not not running again. He's retiring. Bravo, sir. Probably a smart thing. So you got what you need to do, okay, and what you should do is when you go out and vote this year during the midterms, for whether it's for governor or whether it's for your state rep, for the federal government, for the House or the Senate or your state House or Senate, remember in your state what happened during COVID, whether you were locked down, whether, big corporations like McDonald's, Burger King were allowed to stay open, and your mom and pop places were having to be shut down because, COVID. People are getting sick in restaurants, but yet other places you can go to. You need to remember those things. And the reason why I say you need to remember that is because remember how you felt. When you're out and you're moving around and, there's no masks, no nothing. All of a sudden, COVID's getting bad. You got to put on your masks again. You got to do this. You got to do this. Being dictated on what you can and can't do. Because let's face it, folks, if you know anything about Project Paperclip or MK Ultra or anything like that, you can see through the BS of COVID. Because one, COVID was made in a lab. Two, if they can get and convince the whole world to put on a mask, I mean, how is that not brainwashing you? Do yourself a favor, and I posted this on our Facebook page. Look at MK Ultra, Project Paperclip, and I believe it's Project Monarch. Look at those. Look into those. And then you can see a lot of similarities between that and COVID. So do yourself that favor. But that's for another time. What we need to remember in 14 days, it's our American right and duty to go and vote. Now, when you go and vote, just remember why you're doing it. And remember who you're voting for. Don't be turned around by what you're seeing on commercials, because they're lying to you. They're trying to get you not to vote, because let's face it, the left has one thing that they're trying to establish all of their stuff on right now. And that, unfortunately, is abortion, which a lot of people at this time, that's an important issue for a lot of people. But they're hoping that the younger generation is going to hook, line, and sinker that and get out and vote. But what's really affecting all of us as a whole is inflation. What we're paying at the pump for gas to go to and from work. What we're paying to heat our houses. To run electricity in our house. To all of that is what we all, as Americans, can agree on. We're all paying too much. We're paying too much at the grocery stores. I don't know about you, but $180 to $250 every week on groceries is ridiculous for two people. And it's not getting shitty stuff. I mean, it's almost cheaper to go to McDonald's and eat than it is to go buy groceries. And that's a sad, sad thing. It shouldn't be that way. It should be cheaper to go and buy groceries and cook your own food instead of going to McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell and just eating the junk. But I guess they just want Americans fat. And then to top that off, some of you might be paying more. Some of you may be paying less. But for two people, this is what I'm paying. For two people, $180 to $250 every week. Then you factor in, I fill up 3 to 4 times a week in gas at figure $40 a crack. So $120 to $160 a week in gas. So I'm going to take it all on the low end. I'll take it at $180 and $120. Okay. So right there, that's $300 a week out the door, just to put food in my stomach, my family's stomach, and to get to work so I can do it again the next week and the next week and the next week. That's not including wear and tear on a vehicle. That's not including, hey, I want to go to a movie. I want to go on a date night and go to a movie. Because movies nowadays, I mean, you got $12 for tickets for 2, and then another $24 for 1 medium popcorn and 1 fucking drink. I mean, you see what's going on here? And you might be sitting back thinking, well, and this is what they want you to think, because they're trying to change the subject on 8.2% inflation rate here in the States. You know, Nancy Pelosi's already said it. You know, we got to change the subject on that. No, we don't. Because what's going on over in Europe and the middle, you know, over there, it doesn't concern us here. What concerns us here is what's going on in our backyards, going on in our city, our state, our neighborhoods, not what's going on overseas. I can care less what's going on in the UK. I can care less what's going on in any of those other those other countries, because that's not my problem. But I will worry about what's going on in my backyard, like I said, because, and that's one thing that I think the Democrats have failed on right now. What they have failed on is to realize the one thing that unites us all is inflation. Plain and simple. And that's one thing that the Democrats don't want. They don't want us to be united. And yet, in the worst of circumstances, we've all are united as one in the same thing. That we're sick of paying more money than we need to. Now, folks, inflation's only going to get worse. You think it's bad now? Just wait. With his Inflation Reduction Act and all this money that we're sending over to Ukraine, it's going to hit us here. It's going to hit us even harder in the pocketbooks. You know, a little mental note for you. The food that you're buying at the grocery stores today, tomorrow, this week, next week, is all from our food supplies from last year. What do you think is going to happen next year when we go to the grocery store and we need to buy this and that? Yeah, you're starting to see stuff missing now, but it's going to be even worse come next year, because next year's crops that they're taking this year wasn't very much. You need to remember that. And that, my friends, is because of the Democrats and their policies. And not all Democrats are bad. I'll be the first one to say that. But the ones that are pulling the strings right now are the ones that have voted for this Inflation Reduction Act, the ones that have voted to send billions of dollars to Ukraine that equivalent to $100 million a day on average. Those are the ones that need to go for our federal government. And for the Democrats that are in our state levels, the ones that try to hold us down and keep us locked up in our homes and tank our economy and help the powers to be in Washington, D.C. to tank everything and condone the riots, condone the burning of cities, the protesting of Supreme Court justices on their homes. To condone that, those are the people that need to go. All right, folks. I think that's where I'm going to cut it. Until the next time, you guys be good to one another. Remember, if you're not registered to vote, make sure you go vote. Well, register first, then go vote. Now, if you're listening to this on podcast or you're watching this on YouTube, definitely do me a favor. Give me a 5-star and a review, because that's going to help me with this show get out to more people. Now, I'll supply all of our links in the description, so you can go make sure that you follow us on your favorite podcast platform, because we're on all of them, whether it's Apple, Google, whatever, Spotify. We're on all of them. I'll supply all the links below. Make sure you follow us there. And definitely don't forget to hit the subscribe buttons, because so this way you get notified when a new show comes on. All right, guys, be good.